We're back, y'all.
Yeah, indeed, man.
I'm Jared.
I'm Josh.
It's one of those nights when you just have to kind of just hit play and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. This is full-on kicking it.
Crazy week. Just kicking off. Man, we lost a bunch of people. Honest to God, I thought Roy Clark was already gone. When I heard he had passed away, it's like, he wasn't dead. If you're a NASCAR fan, David Pearson passed away. And probably, top of the list is Stan the Man. It's hard to get all sad and emotional about a 95-year-old dude, but man, just talk about the dude that got his ish in, man. Got it in, so that was cool. There was a few people that were, the typical stuff on Twitter about it. And I'm like, screw them. So I thought it was a good send off for Stan Lee.
My shouldn't say favorite part of Stan Lee being dead. That sounds kind of ridiculous, but I had this idea. This was my tweet that I put out about it, where I like the idea of the pre and post finger snap world now being clearly defined. So whenever whoever's coming back, I think that basically getting some acknowledgement from Peter that his school bus driver didn't come back. Not a big deal, just some tiny acknowledgement. That's a cool thing. I think that's a cool way to do it. It's, I don't know, there's something about Finger Snap of Doom in the cinematic universe, because let's be honest, everyone that knows Stan Lee knows him from the movies. If you've ever read anything Stan Lee wrote, good for you. But we've talked about it before, with the exception of the Fantastic Four. There's nothing that Stan Lee ever wrote that wasn't improved immediately by him not writing it anymore. That sounds mean, but it's true. He was really, really good at the company and base stuff, but the Fantastic Four is what he loved. So those books were quite good, and some people, I'm sure Twitter will tell you, that's more to do with Jack than it was Stan.
Yeah.
Stan was just great. Vision was awesome, man. That's all good. But him making himself part of the movies, that's a cool thing, and that's what I think most people, or a lot of people, shouldn't say most, a lot of people know him from. So why not do a cool little movie style tribute to him? Because the books obviously are gonna, but I think that's a cool way to handle the movie thing.
Yeah,
I think that'd be all right.
That's supposedly that's what got released. Was, I don't know exactly how many cameos they have ready to go, but apparently there will be a few more. But I'm like, why not scrap those?
Yeah.
And just have him be part of the, fade away. That it's a good idea.
I think so too. If you want to have a permanent Thanos thumbprint on the MCU going forward, which ain't a bad idea, to just swoop in and undo all of it, that's really bad. Don't get me wrong, Loki fans. I know you gotta have your Loki back, because we talked about it, man. Pre and post, that should be the difference. But people would literally, apparently, have some kind of gigantic, crazy meltdown if Tom Hiddleston doesn't come back. So do what you got to do. It's cool.
Yeah, man. That was the joke that I thought was kind of fitting with the Netflix stuff going on the other week, when it felt like every show was getting canceled. They were like, man, that Thanos snap was difficult on the Netflix
brutal,
shows.
Man. Yeah. Oh, we talked about that. I just can't help but think that's Disney doing their own thing.
They're setting up to
like you've said
their own service
many times that's where it's headed, and I think you're right. They're calling all the Marvel boats home, which is good. I mean, the Netflix Marvel stuff has never really done it for me. I watched the first season of Daredevil, and I thought Vincent D'Onofrio was really good. And that's a very generic thing to say, but the man understands. In professional wrestling, I don't care about promos. I just like people that can work matches. And when it comes to, I like pulling for the villain. That's never really my thing. I like pulling for the best character, or the character I like the best. And in that particular case, it was D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk. And that was it. That was the only thing that I liked about that show. And then it kind of started to...
Saying Vincent D'Onofrio was good in something is kind of like, you don't say.
Oh, it's true. It's it's the point that I'm making of saying, I like the bad guy in that. Wow, that's what a shocker. Nobody likes the Joker except you.
Yeah. Tell me more.
But yeah, dude, that one, the Punisher stuff was, it's not that it wasn't good. I think the Punisher stuff in Daredevil is a lot like the Deadpool standalone movies. If I like that stuff, then you miss the mark, because those aren't characters that I like. So it's much better for people that dig those characters to get something they like. That's cool. That's the way it should be. I never watched Danny Rand because the entire world told me not to. I never watched Luke Cage, and that's my fault because I like that character. I was really kind of hoping that they would cancel those and then do Heroes for Hire, but it just seems like they're just done.
That was the rumor that I think some people tried to get out. Like, no, that's what they're going to do. It's like, yeah, it's what Disney's going to do if they decide to do that.
To keep going.
Yeah, they might be like, you know what, we'll get to that, but it's not in the front burner.
We never put them in a movie. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. We've talked about it before where people love to talk about how soft and sweet and cuddly and squishy all the Disney Marvel stuff is, where DC has pathos, DC has guts, DC's for grown-ups, and then you watch Jessica Jones and it's like, oh, wait a second, this is not comic book stuff at all. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that one, if you really want, like, psychologically abused characters, like Logan fans claim they want, check out Jessica Jones. It's not happy. It's very good, but it ain't happy. Yeah. And I liked the Defenders, but I thought that they didn't mess her character up. It's just the show's a lot better when you can have a little, parody's not the word I'm looking for, duality in that character. Because in the Defenders, it's like, I'm the tough girl, so I'm going to be a tough girl. When the show is hers, you can have that, but that's not all you have. So you actually have, again, you have a little bit more of a...
Doesn't seem like she's the one that would work well with a team.
It doesn't work. You're right, man.
Yeah.
But you can shape the background of the character. You can give a lot more understanding and groundwork as to why she is the way she is. It was cool. That show was really good, but it was also, it's in that real good but hard to watch category. That one fit there.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then Defenders I like because I love team stuff. But unfortunately, anything Daredevil adjacent that's got Elektra in it, Elektra might be the most perfect example of how impossible it is to put anything Frank Miller has ever written on film. Because those books are so much fun, but holy smokes! Watch RoboCop 2 and 3. Oh, they're god awful, and as comic books they're fine, but they're terrible. His dialogue is real stiff, and it's hard to make it work. Yeah. It just is. And then with all the Daredevil stuff, pretty much any Daredevil comic worth reading it's either him or for Pete's sake, his name just shot right on my head. Brubaker. Ed Brubaker wrote some really good stuff.
RoboCop 3 had it felt like 3 movies going on at the same time. It's like
RoboCop literally 3.
pick which one you wanted to do. It's none of them had enough kind of legs to be
a movie.
the soul thing, so they kept throwing crap at it. Like none of this works.
This is all garbage.
But RoboCop 2, I think, was fine enough, but it doesn't hold up. I mean, it was fine at the time when I was a kid watching it, but I think they really tried to we'll ride that wave of this hyper-violent, post-apocalyptic society thing, and it just kind of missed the mark. So,
and then we remade it, which I'm with you, I haven't seen it, so I just know they did it.
I sat down and watched it, and honest to God, not enough of it stuck to really make it feel like, yeah, man, it was good.
Yeah, man.
I can't tell you.
I can't tell you that.
I just remember it taking a few liberties. Are kind of like, what? Huh?
That's what you decided to do.
Yeah, so it just kind of, it's very skippable. If
I can dig it.
If
you haven't already wasted the time on it.
After you skip RoboCop 3, you skip the RoboCop reboot.
It's the easiest viewing assignment ever given.
Yeah, that talk about a one and doneer. That'll be that story will not continue. That's the easiest review. Is like, well, they're not going to do another one, so that's pretty telling.
I can dig it. RoboCop will not be the new Predator. Yeah. We're not going to redo it every 6 months just because.
I just remember this crazy scene in the reboot version where you have Alex Murphy, and I want to say that they might have even changed his first name. I don't remember exactly. I just remember him, the Murphy name, but it seemed like something was different. Like, but why change that? Anyway, it was kind of the him freaking out during his download scene from the first one, that was done, you know, well. And then this one, had his emotional, I, I remember moment.
Yeah.
And this one was, you know, he kind of goes to this thing that whatever computer controls him, and he's like, "Show me what's left." And they're pulling every bit and piece of him off, and you get down to a head, a little bit of spine falling out, and a hand floating there for some reason. You go, "Why?
Okay.
Why do that?" Because he needs his hand to work his gun.
Yeah, you can't have a robot hand.
Yeah, we couldn't do that.
That's ridiculous.
It has to make sense.
No, man, for real. It has to make sense. Alright, so we've redone RoboCop. We've redone Total Recall.
Yeah.
We haven't done Running Man yet, which is good.
It's gotta be coming.
Man, The Running Man is so unbelievably good. It's my favorite Schwarzenegger movie. It's my favorite Stephen King work that's ever been turned into a movie. I love The Running Man. It's awesome.
Some people would say that Hunger Games at least borrowed some that, and you had like Battle Royale kind of rolled up into
the
kind
first-
of a remake-ish.
The first Hunger Games is Battle Royale. It absolutely is. And I'm with you. If you've seen Running Man, there's definitely elements to it. I like it. I think that the television thing is handled a little better in Running Man. And don't get me wrong, that's the biggest difference between the Hunger Games books and the Hunger Games movies. The similarities are, I like the first one, the second one I don't really remember, and the third one I didn't like. Those are similarities that really do cross over. But the movies, man, all of the like commentary, societal, political, social commentary in those books is not in those movies. They don't have any of that stuff. They don't. In the movie, at least they got enough battle royal to have you ask yourself at some point, like, man, how effed up is this that people put this on TV and companies make money off of it? You ask yourself that a couple of times, and it's just like, ooh, that's odd to have this marginalized group that because they rose up and had to fight, now it's like, well, we'll punish you forever. Like, ooh, that's pretty rough, man. I just didn't think the movie got into that at all. I think most people many people have given far better reviews on the differences between the two that really stand up. Running Man did a good job of the commercial nature and the just entertainment value of watching people die, and it's just it's awesome. That movie is awesome, man. I love it. I'll give you another one that I'm glad hasn't been remade and probably wouldn't work now anyway. But for that era of maybe not science fiction, maybe so. Actually, this did have a little technological bent and the future of entertainment and stuff like that. Was Strange Days, man. That movie is underrated as crap.
Oh yeah.
That sucker's good, and I've always been waiting for a reboot of that, and I haven't done one yet, which is cool. But if they do reboot it, I understand Juliette Lewis probably won't get to play herself again, but whoever does, they need to use those PJ Harvey songs again. That was my favorite thing in that movie. I had no idea. It was years later before I found out that those two songs they perform in the club are both PJ Harvey songs. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome, because I love those.
Probably perform them with her own band now.
Yeah,
She's still doing that.
Yeah, she could totally do that.
Yeah. So that's what's up.
Yeah,
And,
man.
Stan passed, and Monday was crazy because I got home, turned Raw on, kind of half watching it, half not, and it got to the end, and I was like, oh my God. And I had the same reaction that most everybody did. I was like, is this really happening? So you had the SmackDown Takeover
It's happening
thing again.
again.
It's become the Survivor Series annual tradition.
Every year, man. It's the only time.
Yeah, the only time they ever do
They
it.
don't even acknowledge each other 364 days out of the year.
It's the only reason they do
That's the only
it.
reason they do it.
She's a good cop.
Oh man.
And it got, and I did like most everybody, watching the busted nose go up the stairs. Like, man, that looks. How does that happen to somebody and they look even cooler, you know? And then so it set in, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, that's probably gonna be tough to get that fixed in a few days. And then what ended up happening. I was like, oh well, man, surely to God that's not gonna work out that way. And sure enough, it did. But so you had Becky Lynch taken out of the Ronda Rousey match, which I think in the long run might be a blessing in disguise
how you gonna book that match if they had it? Would you have had the same ending you had tonight? No, wait, you can't because you already turned Becky heel. How do you get out of it? I was telling Jared earlier, and I understand being a wrestling fan, we're not supposed to believe anything is real. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that she didn't get her nose potatoed off her face, because she did. But I'm telling you, man, Becky Lynch has a movie to make, and they want to. Basically, that's going to be the run-up now, is what match headlines WrestleMania. Because everybody, I'm really bitter about this Becky Lynch stuff. Poor Jared's had to hear this 100 times. Because if you just now realized Becky Lynch is probably top to bottom the best woman wrestler on earth, I got some bad news for you, buddy. You might want to do some history on the network, because it's just, again, if the promos are all you care about, that's cool. We're just looking at it a different way. Bell to bell, there's nobody to get with Charlotte Flair, but Becky Lynch is right there. Always has been that good, so it's nice to see that push and all that good stuff. But man, Becky's finally cool, and they're giving her spot to Charlotte. No, they're not. I'm telling you, they are saving Becky Lynch as a potential for that. I mean, you can have a three-way now. Shoot, headline WrestleMania with a three-way between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. Do it. That would be awesome, and also it will cement Becky as what people actually want her to be. Well, Becky's not a heel. Becky was justified. Yes, she was. That's why it's so cool. It's very, very cool. But the idea of putting Becky on the shelf so she can go make movies or whatever, and then to just the delayed gratification, drag that stuff out, rather than booking her in a match and having her lose to Ronda, even as, well, she got her face broke off and la-di-da. Nah, man. You don't want anyone to lose that match. That's why nobody lost it. Well, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I love the idea. I think it's cool. I also, if it's real, it's real. But if you're telling me that they told Becky Lynch you're going on a 6-month vacation, and her reaction was to go to Nia Jax and be like, hey, remember when Big Show and Mayweather were working together? Round 2. I love that idea. And I don't know if it's what happened. I have no idea whatsoever. But in my head, it's what happened, because it just makes everyone look cooler. And yes, everyone's all killing Nia Jax. Oh, that's too rough. She hurts too many people. Well, the thing about Nia hurting people is when they go radio silent, you have a problem. When you're out the next day talking about beating people up and putting pictures of your hand on the internet, like, well, nobody asked how my hand was, but here you go. It's like, that really feels like good story to me.
Yeah, let's use this to our advantage.
I think it's cool. It's one way or the other. You're either doing that or you're doing what it tells you to do.
Yeah,
man.
And that was the funny thing that happened on the show tonight, which we'll get to if we do or don't. It didn't really matter, because I didn't really care much about the show. But it came down to the sole survivor from the SmackDown women's team was Asuka, and then she's looking across to see Sasha Banks and Nia. It's like, okay, which one's going to hurt me first?
Man.
Which one do I got to fend off? And they end up turning on each other, so that worked out. But as far as that goes, she's going, okay.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. I think it's one of those things going back to when Asuka, I don't think it's when she came up. I think it's when NXT went to Japan. And Nia Jax had already been called up, but they were like, okay, you get to handpick your opponent. And Asuka's like, Nia, because they love each other. It's like, you can't hurt Asuka, so it's like, no problem. But and then, poor Sasha's going to wind up hurting herself.
And with part of what, we're talking about, if it's organic, if it was not, we'll find out. I think it'll end up helping Nia in the long run too, because people hate her now, and she's good enough at her job. Like, well, I'll take this ball and run with it.
That's what I think too, man. People love to talk about how they pull for the heels, and they like the heels, and everyone should be a heel, and Becky's a heel, and Charlotte's a heel, and everyone's a heel, and I love the heels because the heels. Well, finally, you have somebody to legitimately boo. So when Nia Jax comes out and crushes whoever you're pulling for, you will find out what classic heel and babyface dynamics are. The fact of the matter is, the definition of what passes as a babyface has changed. When I tell people that Stone Cold Steve Austin is the new template for what we will now call white meat, they lose their Steve Austin, babyface. I'm telling you, he changed the game.
Yeah.
He changed it. You can't have Ricky Morton no more. Unless he can cut a promo like, I can't think of a good example right now. It doesn't work. All the sympathy in the world doesn't work anymore, man. So what you call heels, Becky Lynch, aren't heels. Nia's a heel.
Yeah.
Do you want to see Nia Jax beat up Becky Lynch? Of course you don't. But you're going to tune in to find out if Becky can whip her ass, because that's exactly what you want to see. It's just, the packaging's just different now. That's all there is to it, man. But
it's 2 matches already built in, where she'll get Nia back, and then she's got Ronda that she never got to fight in the first place.
Absolutely, man. And then unfinished business with Charlotte. I like it, man, because that's you've got a whole angle built in there where immediately you just forget everything that we said, and here's a hug, and it's all good, because they are buds in real life. But then Charlotte immediately turns heel, so when you bring Becky back, it's just like, basically do what Ciampa and Gargano are doing now, which, I mean, again, this sounds like a diss on Becky, and that's kind of mean, but it's true. That literally is what happened. It's like she went to make the movie and did the acting classes, and it's all like, hey, that Tommaso Ciampa, he's pretty good, isn't he? He's like, yeah, well, I can do that. Why don't we do that? So I just think that's cool, man. But I'm totally with you. But the whole thing with immediately Charlotte takes up her new old ways, and it's like, yeah, you knew a good idea when you saw one, but didn't work against me. So that's I like all that. I think that's very cool.
Yep. So I wonder where you got that idea from.
I love it. Seriously, I think that's a really cool way to get them back in there, man. And it's cool too, because at the time when they were doing the Becky heel turn and all that, I hated it. I wanted it to be a Charlotte heel turn, and then have Becky's basically what she's doing now be the reaction to that. You get jobbed, you get stiffed. This girl that, basically, I mean, it's what they did. I just think it would have been, I would have liked it better if Charlotte was heel.
If they'd done it this way in the first place.
I thought it would have been cooler to just go heel and heel. You don't have to have one of them be nice. It's okay. You don't need that. But no, Charlotte's the baby face, so we're going to boo her. Well, give that a week, because now that she already, Twitter or Instagram is already like, yeah, man, Charlotte's amazing. Charlotte Flair's so good. Yeah, she's so good. Yeah. She's been that good since the first time I ever saw her. Idiots, but
so good.
It's so good.
So Tuesday night you had out of the blue,
out of nowhere.
That's my Bill Burr doing Reservoir Dogs.
Out of the blue, Chris Pitt, man. Out of the blue.
He's just gonna decide.
Why don't you tell me?
Give a title shot.
Why don't you tell me what really happened? That's one of the best scenes in any movie ever, man.
So, out of Daniel Bryan supposedly being punished for not wanting to go to Saudi, he gets rewarded with this title shot that he was coached, that Paul Heyman coached him out to get. Anyway, convoluted. It's not even convoluted. It just was just dumb.
It's just bad.
It was just dumb.
Convoluted is my nice way of saying horrible.
So Daniel Bryan doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. He's supposed to be being punished. So he gets this match for the title with AJ, and you're like, okay, this is just plain dumb. And they put the title on Daniel Bryan Tuesday night. You're like, okay, well that they just don't want AJ to have the title going into Brock and facing Brock Sunday night. Well, maybe he's going to beat Brock and take that title, and then Brock can go on and do whatever the heck he wants to do or is going to do. And they're like, no, they're not going to do that either. So they end up doing Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan tonight, and it's like, I was thinking, okay, well, they can still do that, and this could be Daniel Bryan and Paul Heyman were working together all along, and he'll do the turn on Brock, and that's why he came out and got AJ riled, because he wanted Daniel Bryan to have this title so he could turn on Brock, and none of that happened. So I'm glad I didn't sit down and make my prediction video so I could look and say, hey, that's right, because it didn't happen.
No good.
Yeah, that's womp womp. So that's and then the third option, I thought, well, okay, maybe they're going to want Lesnar to just have a Randy Orton SummerSlam flashback and just, okay, could you go out there and just kill that guy for us? Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I thought any number of things could happen, but none of it I was going to care about. So
I'm
when
the
it
same
came
way.
time to turn on the show, I was like, you want to watch TakeOver instead?
Quite literally. When the poster said Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles, I wasn't interested. And that's a tall order. To make me not care about an AJ Styles match.
Yeah. You've done something.
It pretty much needs to be Shane McMahon or Brock Lesnar. Hey, WrestleMania, all right.
There you have it.
Yeah, I'm just with you. There was nothing on that show I was into. And then, like, this is a stupid complaint, but whenever you have everybody model T-shirts all night, God, I hate that. That is so bad looking. I just hate it. Like, this is terrible. But, as the man said, it was a takeover show to watch.
Yeah, Shinsuke with, and I special ordered my blue jumpsuit. I had to wear this stupid shirt on top.
Exactly. It looked awesome. It's like, yeah, the guy wearing blue is probably representing SmackDown. Nope, got to make it clear.
No.
So I can't take this jacket off. No, Russell in the sleeves. He's terrible.
Seth got to cut his shirt in half. He's Seth.
That's right.
You're Japanese. What do you understand?
What do you want us to do, man? So unbelievably bad and ridiculous. Almost as bad as booking it for Raw to win every single match, but
Which exactly,
that's what they did. It's like, this is so lame, man.
we gotta win this from Becky Lynch's nose.
So it's that joke that me and you talked about, man. Any McMahon family FU they give people causes a Twitter meltdown. So that's got to be what they're going for. It has to be. All right, whatever, man. Because, again, fortunately, we didn't waste any time. We wasted enough time to see the AOP guy, go Stars Born, and that was about the only thing that we saw, man.
Which that effect did not play off very well. I don't know
did not.
if the pants weren't light enough, or if his bag didn't work, or if he tried to do that straight up shoot, brother. You didn't drink enough cranberry juice or whatever.
Need some more Mountain Dew in there, brother.
Yeah, gotta get that working, bro.
For real, hey man, come on, get your palm.
I got a shot bladder. I can't do this in front of one person, let alone a crowd.
The crowd of people in the Big Show 4 inches from my wiener. It's gonna be easy for me to get this to happen.
I've never done this standing on the side of the ring. I can't go.
For real, sorry guys, hadn't tried that spot before.
Blimey.
Oh man. How could this possibly have turned out to not be a good idea?
My little maverick isn't working.
I don't get it. So yes, we got to see Dude P.
African Goose ain't communicating.
African Goose. Cougar and Merlin and Maverick and Goose. What? Never mind.
It'll make sense later.
For real.
Save me, Husky.
And then the return of Husky Harris.
So instead of watching the show tonight, I kind of skipped and turned Takeover back on.
Heck yeah, man.
I think anybody that did that probably had a way better time.
It's the same thing. We say it every time, man. Like any big pay-per-view weekend, there's only one thing worth seeing. It's it's not. I shouldn't say only ever one thing, but if you got to pick, like the man said, if you got to pick, and Survivor Series weekend, there's only one because of the big four. Survivor Series is routinely my least favorite.
Yeah, man.
It's just not. It's just not my favorite. Yeah, man.
Just
Royal Rumble's my favorite. SummerSlam is always fun.
Starcade, dude. What can I say?
That's the thing. If they had just done that, if they just turned it back into Starcade, it would have worked out okay. Yeah. But if they'd done that, they would have, I guess bringing a November tradition that's discussing like Starcade and whatnot, Great American Bash was, I'm pretty sure that's where War Games was because it was a tour, and so I know they did more than one. So one of the companies brought back an old WCW/NWA, /Dusty Rhodes idea, and it worked. But that's the fourth match. We'll get to that.
It was a show good enough I got enough of it, so I didn't watch it bell to bell. I got enough of the highlights to go, oh, this is good. And shout out to Shay Turner because he was texting me when it was over. He's like, oh, this was awesome. I was like, I know.
I'm good, man.
So sat down and checked that out. And did anything stand out?
It's tricky. I was actually trying to think about that, like during the show, of what was my favorite thing on it. It almost would have had to have been Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream, man. That was incredibly good, and I love those guys anyway. But that was awesome. I thought that Baszler and Kairi Sane were good again because apparently they just always are going to be. It's very tricky to have bump of the night be like in the second match on an NXT card, but I think they did it only in the sense that we talk about all the time. I like Blow Sunshine for Shayna Baszler all the time, but it's because I am so routinely impressed with her, man. Just surprised and happy, and I enjoy it, and it just is amazing to me. Like we talked about, man, her offense is believable because she has legitimate background. The look, just the appearance and what she looks like, that works too. That's totally professional wrestler. So when you have pro wrestler look and pro wrestling abilities, all that's fantastic. The only thing that's missing is mic work. I don't care about that. And her mic work's actually not that bad. And then how do you bump? Well, taking that freaking shotgun DDT off the apron, I could not believe that she took that bump, man. But just the willingness to do that. We talked about it with Ronda, too, and it's not necessarily like massive bumps with her, but she will sell, and she puts stuff over for other people. Shayna Baszler will put stuff over, too, but then obviously she will get absolutely in there when it comes time to make the other person look like a stud, too. And it was very impressive. I'm talking a bunch about that one, and I did enjoy it. I think the only difference there is that we'd seen them before. And tonight wasn't their best match, but so what? It was awesome. It worked really well. It was cool. And now we get a 6-woman match. That's going to be a lot of fun because we've got all the run-ins for like, leave her alone, you jerks. So that's going to be fun. We can keep some of that going. But I'm sorry, I said Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream. I'm sorry. Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa is who wrestled, and that was good. But it was Gargano and Black is the match that that was the one that was really my favorite. And it's not a surprise because Gargano is amazing. And Aleister Black, I was telling Jared, man, there's just something intangible about that guy. I can't quite put my finger on it as to why I like him so much. But on behalf of everyone else, I totally get why all of us like him so much. I can't be specific about it, but it makes sense anyway. That guy, that was awesome. That was my favorite match of the night. But I was very impressed with the title match too, just mainly because I love Velveteen Dream. But it was that's what messed me up, I think, man, is that Velveteen's individual performance and Aleister's individual performance stuck out to me. But at the same time, with Aleister, actually with both of them, so shoot,
yeah, dude,
gotta get that sneeze on, baby. I think it went away. Now I can talk again. Individually, they're the guys that jumped out to me, man. But the fact of the matter is, it's all 4 of them, and it was just I was really impressed, man. But anyway, but to be fair, to like lay it out, it was Black and Gargano. That was my favorite match of the night. That was unbelievable. And now, we talked about War Games, man. I think I mentioned everything else except for the opening match, which wasn't. But I'm not very excited about Matt Riddle. I don't know anything about him. I just know I'm not like wild excited about it. But I will say, we discussed it, man, that his flip-flop ejection in the intro was awesome. I love that. I like popped pretty loud for that. Like, that was great.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so that was cool, man. And honestly, I shouldn't say that. I just don't know what to expect. It's all good. I just the MMA dudes. It's so strange because the 2 women that have done it that I've seen so far, I've been very impressed with. Most of the guys I've seen try it just aren't my thing. Yeah. They can't all be Minoru Suzuki, man. But I guess Josh Woods is who I got stuck in my head because he's one of the few Ring of Honor guys that I just can't get a feel for. I wanted to join the Kingdom. I keep saying that, but I think that would be awesome. Mainly just because him and Vinny Marseglia would be a cool looking tag team. I'm getting way sidetracked with stuff, man. But yeah, then of the non-War Games matches, which one was your favorite, man?
Man, I think it had to be the Velveteen and Ciampa. That was the one.
It was sick.
That was my jam.
It was sick, man. I'm totally with you. I thought it was quite good.
Nothing else, just the Hollywood Hogan tribute was enough for me. But then I wasn't ready for Ciampa to stop doing his thing. But I do hope that Velveteen gets a run with that championship before he goes up. But I'm afraid it's going to be like a short, Almas kind of thing where, if you're going to do that, maybe you just don't need to do it. That one was it for me.
I can dig it. The match was incredible, man. And both those guys are like super impressive anyway. Velveteen, I think I've only seen like 3 matches, man, but everything I've seen that guy do is like, man, this sucker is awesome. And also, it's a Prince wrestler, man. Come on, I love that Prince. I love that as a Prince wrestler, man, for real. And that makes me. We were talking earlier about the Minnesota Timberwolves Prince uniforms, which I like, which then takes me back to Cassius Ohno wearing his Sacramento Kings colors in Los Angeles was awesome. That was just a cool little like, if you guys kind of thing, man. So I can dig that because I'm with you. They were 3 for 3. I mean, everything on there was awesome, and then they get to War Games, and War Games is just too much fun, man. Yeah. It's always been too much fun. I'm very much with you that I like that there's no roof because now they always do some crazy spot from the top, especially when you have Ricochet in the match because it's like, well, this is going to be nuts, and it was because the guy darn near missed yeah, man. It's like, good Lord, he jumped out of the ring if they told him to, man.
So we Got to take the top off and make shark cages out of them.
Yeah, exactly, man. We need shark
Gotta
cages.
have shark cages.
Yeah, I like that idea of Bobby locking up Pete. I thought that was quite cool. Just a bunch of dudes that I like, so I'm super biased. My favorite thing from that match, you know exactly what I'm going to say. My favorite thing from that match is Kyle O'Reilly revisiting the chair spot, and he missed it this time. He Arn Anderson himself, like, yeah, baby, I'm good. And then turns around and gets it kicked in his face or whatever it was, man. But I loved that they referenced that because O'Reilly, we've talked about it before, man. Something about the guitar playing thing and the like comedy bump. The guy is like so believable as like legit murder you guy. He just, I mean, he had a match in Ring of Honor with Shibata. It was one of the baseball stadium shows. I'm really bad. It's Field of Honor, I think is what it's called, but I don't remember what year it was. But anyway, Katsuyori Shibata came over and I think was the never open weight champ. I'm trying to give you details if you want to run this thing down. It's out there. And it was awesome. I mean, if you know Shibata and you know Kyle O'Reilly, they just beat the crap out of each other. It was very impressive and a little bit scary, especially when you see where Shibata wound up. Same thing, we'll get to that in a second, man. I hate when guys that scare you because of the way they perform actually wind up getting hurt. I hate when anybody gets hurt, but it's like something really, if it's ominous in the work, it just really makes you sick, man.
So I supported this.
Yeah,
I feel like
for real.
I feel good about myself.
See, that's where I'm at whenever like college athletes get hurt. I feel so unbelievably guilty watching college athletes. That's why I don't watch college basketball anymore. Because I'm like, you can start paying these kids, or I'll watch the people that get paid and have a pension and will get taken care of, because the schools obviously do not care. They just don't care. Anyway, I'm getting off on the other thing that I was going to throw in there as far as injuries are concerned. I was telling Jared that Dave Meltzer and I have a love-hate relationship. I love the fact that when I was trying to learn, okay, what Japanese stuff do I need to watch first, I was able to see his reviews for Masawa and Kobashi, and that's why I tracked those guys down. And I love those guys, so I'm very happy for Meltzer for doing that. Current Dave Meltzer, who is basically just the biggest Kenny Omega cheerleader on earth, I have a problem with. Because, man, Kenny Omega's awesome. There's nothing wrong with being a Kenny Omega fan. But if you're trying to tell me, I mean, if Meltzer or any of the people that like him are trying to convince me that he is not shaded by the fact that Kenny Omega is in the ring, I don't buy that. I just don't. Because I've seen Kenny have unbelievable matches. I've seen many people have unbelievable matches. But, you know, breaking the star rating for this dude over and over again, it just became...
You can feel the bias.
It's just shtick now.
Yeah.
It just feels like that. But there was one thing, one of the reviews recently, and I can't believe I still haven't thought of who this was because I'm a dum-dum, but I was telling Jared that you had, it seems like it was the G Cup final is what it, the J Cup final this year, or last year, when Hiramu won it. And I can't believe I don't remember who he was in there with, but they really went buck wild. It was great. Great. And I think it was a 5-star match and all that good stuff. And they're like, man, why? You're kidding me, 5? Well, I mean, that's the problem with going to 6, 6 3/4, whatever you've done. Now, 5 isn't enough because 4.5, 4 3/4 hasn't been enough. So now that's the new thing. So people got on him on Twitter and were giving him a hard time about, oh, it's only a 5-star match. And his literal reply was like, man, I feel guilty endorsing stuff like this. Someone's really going to get hurt because they really just go out and go buck wild. And then, very shortly thereafter, you have Hiramu and Dragon Lee, and he really does get seriously hurt. It's like, God, I feel guilty about this, man. I love me some Hiromu Takahashi. I love that kid, but, you know, with the things I like about him wound up getting him hurt. And I'm like, man, I suck for that. Man. Stupid Dave Meltzer with his knowledge that he still has, jerk. Making me feel bad.
Forget that mess.
Yeah, for real, man. I ain't got time to feel guilty. Tables.
Hovey, pinata.
Hovey, pinata.
So, man, that, my long and short of my Survivor Series review is watch Takeover.
Yeah, Takeover was awesome. That's totally where I'm at, too, man.
Get down with that. You'll have a good time.
Yeah, I was telling the man what I need to...
I want me an undisputed branded chair. That's what I took away from the War Games match. I want my undisputed era chair accessory.
It's pretty cool, man. And I like the fact that Kyle O'Reilly found something else to air guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's so funny. We were discussing, man. I crack up every time he does it, and I don't know why I like it so much, but I love it.
Undisputed era chairs. Folding tables for your nanner pudding.
That's right, man.
Or sell it for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we were having a blast with the referee picking up all the table fragments, like, you darn kids, making a mess. It was awesome, man.
I did hear that one of the refs that moved a piece of table got the thank you ref cheer from guys in the front row. Like, it's a pretty expensive ticket to not be able to see anything. You know, it's not that hard. Just kind of fold it over.
Yeah, man.
Lay it down flat.
I'm sure it was I don't know if it was the one they set up for Rowe's back bump, but I'm like, whoever's got that seat has a sucky seat right now, man.
That royally sucks.
It does.
It got set up damn near half the match. So
That thing was sitting up there forever, man.
Yeah.
So, shoot, man, because they like, y'all, that's no good. Can't see nothing.
Yep.
Can't see nothing. Can't see the little plate anymore, little diamond plate. But, man, God, people bumped all over that thing all night. Made us feel bad because it's like, that's gotta hurt, man. And then all the guys are like Jared was telling me, they're like, man, that thing sucks. It hurts. It's like, dude. So you had Velveteen.
You don't want
Yeah, Velveteen took a DDT off of it, and it's rough, man.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I've gotten the short version of the War Games, but I just love that format. I think it's really, really cool. And if you liked the one last year, I think you'll like this one a lot too. It was cool, and I like the ending of it. I like where it leaves us as far as like the business between the North American and UK champ is not settled. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah.
It's not like they beat the crap out of each other or anything. It's just a good foreshadowing. Excuse me. Hey, Pete Dunne's got his title, and he's looking over at Ricochet. Like, that's a good-looking title. I've got the only other good-looking title in wrestling. Let's get together.
I'll have both of them.
Yeah, for real. I have the best-looking set in WWE.
Yep.
Awesome stuff. Good teams, too. I mean, obviously, Undisputed Era was going to be what they were going to be because that's them. Nice to see Bobby Fish back. I did not know that was a thing until the card came out.
Yeah.
But War Machine and Pete Dunne, and I like that. I like that group. I'm cool with that, man. I like they all did the face paint. It's like Dusty cutting the little Tully thing in his head. I don't know if that had anything to do with the Road Warriors, or not. I know he did paint one time. I think the Tully thing was just him and Tully having a war. And I always thought that was so cool, though, man. He basically just shaved his head from right here around the ear, and they wrote Tully on it. It was cool, man.
Yep.
Yeah, Dusty was awesome, man. Never gets any credit for helping invent hardcore, but you wrestle in jeans and a t-shirt and beat the crap out of each other. It's like, it's not a death match, but it's what gave people like Onita the idea of like, hey, man, what if I did this but with nukes? Like,
Check out that mess.
yeah, man.
Talk to y'all.
Take it easy, y'all.
Ah.